Welcome and thank you for joining the NEHA National Webinar Series. I'm Christy Denbrock, Chief Learning Officer at NEHA. Today, our presenter is Ashish Sharma. He will be speaking on artificial intelligence in environmental health practice. This is an introduction to AI and AI tools and its practical application. Ashish is a consultant with NEHA, and he is authoring our artificial intelligence policy. During his presentation, please feel free to write any questions you may have into the chat box, and we will address them at the end of his presentation. If you are not a NEHA member and you enjoyed this session, we invite you to become one at neha.org. Ashish, do you want to go ahead and share your screen, and we will start with your presentation?
Sure, Christy. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
It looks fabulous. Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Christy. And thank you, everyone, for joining this call. And as Christy mentioned, today we are going to talk about an introduction of AI, which is artificial intelligence, a high-level agenda in terms of what is AI, what are the different approaches that we can look at AI, what are the recommended tooling from a NEHA standpoint. We will talk about that, as well as when you start your journey right at zero, how do you get started? What are the things that you should keep in mind? What are the data privacy concerns? And we will also talk about what is the guidance that NEHA can provide for the environmental health community to move ahead with this initiative. As well as we are going to talk about what is coming next. So this is just the start of the series of webinars where we are going to talk about basic as well as the enhanced artificial intelligence. So let's go right in. We heard you at the AEC conference this year, and we had an artificial intelligence session, and we heard our members that there were some topics that were discussed there, and some of the topics were quite advanced. So our members were looking for an initial and basic understanding of this topic as to how to get started with AI. That is an important point that we heard, and how to start. So we have brought this webinar to you. This is a series of 3 webinars to start off with. The first one today and tomorrow are identical sessions. And then a detailed Q&A session is also planned for 21st of November this year. So to start off with, what this webinar is all about. So this will talk about initial and basic understanding about artificial intelligence. This does not require you to have a lot of understanding and a working knowledge about AI, but just the basics it will talk about. Also, we will talk about the basic tools on a day-to-day basis which you can use. Even if you're not that well versed with AI, machine learning, and all sort of technical terms that we hear these days about AI. And then it is also going to talk about an introductory approach to tools. What this webinar is definitely not is it will not talk about the enhanced AI tools and the enhanced use cases that we see these days, be it in environmental health, medical profession, or any other profession for that matter. As well as we are not going into detail of tool demonstration, though we are going to look at how this works, how the tool works. We are going to talk about that. But whatever this webinar is not, is going to be covered in the future webinars that we are going to bring as a series from January 2025 onwards to you. So what industry says about artificial intelligence? There is a lot of buzz that you hear on every day, and that is relating to different topics, different facets of your life that you see as on today. But if you understand from a data perspective, the total business that AI market is bringing as on today to the United States, it is about $1,339 billion by 2030. And that will increase the US GDP by 21%. So that is going to create a big shift, as well as going to contribute significantly to the economy. What also we believe and we see across the trends which are there in the market as on today is on the organizations. We see more than 64% of the organization understand and believe that AI is going to increase their overall productivity. That could be in different senses. 72% of the businesses have adopted AI for at least one business function. It is not that everybody is right in 100% into the AI. People are starting small. And that is what Neha also suggests, to start small and then in a phase-wise manner, go big. And more than 60% customers and the businesses also believe that customer relationships will be improved with the inclusion of AI. Obviously, there are challenges with AI, there are shortcomings with AI, and this is in no way anywhere near to the perfect that we see as on today. So we are going to talk about these areas in detail, but to start off with, what is AI? You hear this term in terms of artificial intelligence, and it is applied into different areas. But what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence, in a basic term, is an ability for a computer, all of the computer system that we see around us, to think, learn, and simulate some of the processes. And those processes could be maybe reasoning, it could be learning from certain items, as well as perceiving. What do we perceive of certain items? And it is totally driven by data. To understand that, you see a lot of different examples in your day-to-day life. It could be chatbots that you see when you go to your banking website, you talk to the banking support team. They are mostly using chatbots. And then you go to book a ticket for your a flight ticket, and all of the airlines are using chatbots on all their websites. You see autonomous vehicles, you see Tesla, you see there are a lot of manufacturers who are also bringing up the artificial intelligence. And similarly, there are other areas where text editors are being used, or navigation apps, they use artificial intelligence. So in a nutshell, artificial intelligence is something which is artificial. So we are giving it some data. We are giving our perceiving, we are giving it our logical reasoning. And at the end of it, looking at all of those, it is making some decisions out of it. Now, all of those decisions are completely up to the humans to review before they can be implementing. I've brought another analogy to understanding this AI and how this all advanced. So if you remember, and some of us might still have the manual transmission cars, where there used to be a manual transmission, and it used to require in the cars a lot more human intervention to change the gears and attention to operate with that. And as we moved ahead, as the technology advanced, the second generation of cars came. That came with an automatic transmission, and that required less human intervention. There were only 3-4 blocks to be changed, not all of the time you're changing the gears, than the manual one. And as on today, what we see in terms of the artificial intelligence is there is very less, and in some areas like the self-driven vehicles, we see no human intervention that is there. So you can understand that, yes, there was a basic function, then the automation came, then artificial intelligence is the second, you would say the second step of automation. It is going just one step further. So if you understand this analogy, you would understand that artificial intelligence is only looking at improving the processes. It is not defining anything which is right from the scratch, but it is just taking what is already there and just trying to improve how it is perceived, how it works, and how efficient it is. Now, when we look at from a tooling perspective, in the market, you would not see much of artificial intelligence being talked about without the tools. So you would hear and see the name of tools such as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, but we have to understand how these tools are categorized. So there are 3 different categories that you see which are there in the market as on today. One is generative AI. Generative AI is something that you ask a question, you give some query to it, and it will come out, give you the answers that you're looking for. Claude is also one of the vendors that are using it, and Gemini Pro is also one of the vendors who provide this service in terms of generative AI. The second category is of the vendors or the tools which have taken the basis out of generative AI and they have created point products. So if you want to do a note-taking app, then there are examples in the market as Otter.ai, Firefly, and Zoom AI Companion, and so on and so forth. And it's just an indicative list that we have put together for that matter. Note-taking apps, again, they have a specific function. They only perform a specific function. And similarly, if you are using Microsoft, as I understand, most of the members in their organizations are using Microsoft as one of the collaboration tools, then there is one Microsoft product as well, which is Copilot. Copilot takes on all the Microsoft products and give you that generative AI features. Similarly, there are other requirements like Grammarly, which uses the grammatical skills to improve your writing. So with all of these AI technology landscape, if you want to start, and I would suggest starting with ChatGPT or Claude. Similarly, because you attend a lot of meetings, you need the meeting notes to be captured in a professional way, and you do not want that somebody on the call is completely designated with a task of making minutes of meeting. That way, you can utilize the note-taking apps. And absolutely, this is no one size fits all. And all of these tools are also not created equal. So it will depend a lot upon what is your requirement. What is it that one agency, what is it that one location, what is it that one environmental health office is looking for? Based on the use cases that you define out of your organization, where all you want efficiencies to be increased, where you want service improvement to be done, and that is where you are going to understand and get that tooling from. I would take a very day-to-day life example. So imagine a project manager, right? So the project manager can instantly, create a clear and a concise project summary at the click of a button. Or imagine a data analyst who can simply ask Excel to create a predictive model without spending hours in there. So when you look at AI tooling, the most common question that I get, and you all would also think about it, is what will happen to roles like project managers and help desk assistants when the AI can automate all of their tasks, or many of their tasks rather. So it's a question worth exploring in depth. But if you ask me, the truth is that AI isn't here to replace people, but it is just to enhance their capabilities. So if you see even if there is a click of a button, the human element always remains irreplaceable. So a project manager brings experience, context, the domain knowledge, the emotional intelligence, and there are other strategic decision-making skills which AI simply cannot replicate. So while you can use it for IT assistants, help desk agents, but at the end of the day, all the decision making comes from humans. You can use it as an efficiency support for you. How to get started? Now, we spoke about tools. We understand that there are some basic tools that we can get started with, and there are certain use cases. So if we talk about from a Neha perspective and what Neha did in terms of the AI use cases, so we defined a strategy where we understand what is the best ROI we can get out of any of the tool implementation. How do we use it? And it always depends on what problems you want help with. What are the areas where you want an immediate impact and you want to address them first? So today I'm going to show you how to look at ChatGPT, how to look at Claude, and we are trying to generate some outputs or some data for these three use cases. First is writing the grants application, drafting the communication plans, and third is any executing day-to-day tasks. And again, this is a sample use case topic that we have picked up for this. Neha has used all of these areas for AI. We use it day in, day out for the use cases that we have defined. So that is something that we are going to see. So give me a moment, I'll stop sharing and I'll share the browser window where we see these tools. Can you all see my screen? Great.
Yes,
Thank you, Christy. Thanks. So we spoke about different use cases. So let us try ChatGPT. And I'll tell you a couple of things about ChatGPT. So chatgpt.com is the website from where you can have this generative AI setup. When you start, and I will talk about what are the guidance from our end, how do you install it and things like that. But two most important things when you start with ChatGPT is, one is selecting the right license model for this. ChatGPT comes as a free edition. ChatGPT is also available in two other editions. One is a Pro edition, where you get access to more functionalities, and a third version, which is an enterprise version. Now, what is the difference is if you are an individual contributor, or if you want to access all of these features, try to generate something, learn ChatGPT, you would want to utilize an individual license as well as a free version could do for you. But if you are using it for your work, then there are sensitive information, there are data, which is confidential data that you would want to utilize and generate some output with ChatGPT for. In those cases, I would suggest investing into either a pro version or an enterprise version if your enterprise agrees with it. That there are 3-4 people across different departments who want to utilize it, I would suggest going in for the enterprise version. Now, the free version is free, but the pro version comes with, I think it is $20 as on today per month. And then there is an enterprise team version, which will get a different pricing. Now, the key difference why I'm telling you about different licensing of ChatGPT is if you are using a free version and you're publishing the data that you are using on ChatGPT, your queries. So your queries as well as your output becomes a public information or can become a public information. Because as you understand, ChatGPT is something which is collecting data right from all of the sources on the internet, on the Google. So that is why ChatGPT will collect all of that information. But if you are using a pro license or a enterprise license and you do not publish it, you have an option to keep all of that data private. Once all of that data is private, none of your queries, your confidential output information from ChatGPT goes out to the external world. And that is why it is important to invest once you are feeding it confidential data. You can start with a free version, and once you think that, yes, this is the right tool for me, then invest in it. So I'll do one query here, and let's see what it gives us. So I will say draft a communication plan for a Salmonella outbreak in the United. Or if I just do that, let's see what it brings up. So ChatGPT will start to write the communication plan for Salmonella outbreak for me. And you would see it will come up with all of the elements, key stakeholder, key messages. Now, what this is doing is it is picking up information about the Salmonella outbreak and the communication plans which are already available on the internet, be it on Google or be it on any publicly available information. It is doing a query into a publicly available information. That is why we need to absolutely understand the data part of it. Wherever we are putting the queries, we need to ensure that we check the accuracy of the data as well. Because if you see right at the bottom where I put the message ChatGPT, it is mentioned that ChatGPT can make mistakes. So check important info. So this is a very key element. So now we are seeing a communication plan for Salmonella outbreak. Now, if I am to see a refined result out of this, I would say in the United States. And now all of the write-up that it is giving me, it will focus on the United States. And at the end of it, I can also ask it the statistics which are there in the United States for Salmonella outbreak. How many people were affected? How many patients were there? How many hospitals were treating all of those patients? So that way, your query is very important. What you feed the information, what is your question? If you can define your question clearly, then ChatGPT is going to give you good results. And again, all of the results that it gives, let's say in this case, it's a communication plan. It is now a template for you. You can put this into a template, into a Word document, and then go point by point. And it may be that you would need to give it some context of the organization that you're working for. And with that contextual information, it is all ready. You need not write from the scratch and write all of this. So that is where it becomes very important and very helpful that it is saving time on your end. And so if I put it statistics, so for the last 2 years, it will talk about different areas and whatever happened into different regions and areas and things like that. It will save all of your queries on the left-hand side, and it will show that, yes, you have these queries that you did, but this is only available in professional plan. In free plan, this is not available. So this is the way that you can generate and use ChatGPT. And if I would tell you one more thing, when we go into Google, right, I'll tell you some things about Google search, right? So when we go into Google, what we do is a normal search, right? So we do a search of, let's say, pretty dog faces. So these things will come up. Now, you might have a requirement of looking at a dog face or a picture which is in certain size, right? It might be a certain pixel size that you want. And I'm taking this as an example. So you have to put it in a different way, which is, if you put it like this, and with that, you put it as a column image size, and you put it 500 by 500, right? And then you do this. Oh, one second. Yes. So now all of the things that are coming up, all of the images that will come up are exactly of the size 500 by 500. So that is how we do a Google search. So similarly, ChatGPT works in a similar way. It is just that on Google, it is all raw data. It is not structured in a manner that you would want to be using it for your professional work. And that is how ChatGPT will help you in putting in a certain manner, putting it in a way that you can utilize for your work, and then making sense out of it. Second tool that we'll look at today is Claude. Now, again, Claude.ai is also a tool that we are using within Neha. ChatGPT is also something that we use. And Claude can do a lot of things on the generative AI like ChatGPT, but it can do some additional things as well. Like if you want to generate dashboards, you can put it in a dashboards and that, yes, so it will start to do coding for you as well. So anyone who is interested in looking at coding, looking at the source code, you can utilize Claude.ai, because in real time, it will also show you what is the code that it is writing to create that dashboard. And you can do unlimited amount of edits into this to look at the dashboard that you want exactly. And this is how it will create. It will also tell you what all it created and from where it picked up the data. You can feed the Excel files into it, and you can have that Excel file data, and it will generate the statistics and trend. You can also have different graphs created from this one and utilize it. So it will save a lot of time on your end. It will also save a lot of repetitive work that you would do in your day-to-day life, and that is where ChatGPT and Claude would be very beneficial for you. So the second use case that we were looking at were writing a grant application, because we also understand that this is a very important topic. We all in the environmental health professional, we want to write grant application. And I'm taking an example of an environmental health dashboard creation. Yes. So if you put grant application for dashboard creation, it will start to write the executive summary, statement of need, and the project goals and objectives. It will give you exactly everything that you need to start off in your application for a grant that you're applying with either CDC, either FDA, or any organization that you're working with in the environmental health professional. It will also talk about design and implementation, project outcomes and impact. So when you do this in a day-to-day life and you want to write a grant application, it will take a lot of time for you to start thinking what should be the template, what are the areas that we should definitely cover, what are the areas that we should not miss into any of the areas, what are the project budget costing looks like. So it will give you a kickstart, and it will do you a lot of details into all of this planning. You can take this template, you can start, and then you can do a contextualization into this. And at the end of the day, you will have a greatly written application. The other thing, which is very beneficial out of writing and getting the grant application from ChatGPT, is you take the help out of it, which is just to start off. It is not that you do exactly a complete copy paste on this, because again, like with any of the AI tool, Claude, ChatGPT, or anything, they are only giving you a kickstart. They are only giving you a head start into what can help you in writing the things. It can help you to start off. But at the end of the day, the data, the accuracy, you have to ensure what is the accuracy of that data which you are submitting. So it has written a complete grant application for us. The other thing that you can do with ChatGPT or Claude is you can feed it once you go into your meetings and you do a meeting recording. And once you do your meeting recording, you can feed Claude your meeting recording, and it will create the minutes of meeting. And those minutes of meeting would be exactly as somebody, a project manager, would write it. So at the end of the day, it is saving you time to create those minutes of meeting. At the end of the day, you can do a check of what the action items were and things that were put in there, whether they were right, what they were wrong, and things like that. But you will have a working minutes of meeting available at the end of the meeting itself. You can feed it pictures, you can feed it recordings, voice recordings, you can feed it written information. There can be a lot of sources that you can put to it. If you have an Excel file with data that you want to analyze, and you want to generate something out of that Excel data, which is not making sense, and it has a lot of rows and columns into that data, this can sort it for you. So there could be multiple use cases for these ChatGPT and Claude and generative AI tools that you have in the market that can give you a lot of information on AI. And you can also do a decision making of whether this is the right thing for me or not, or whether as an organization, how much of AI you want to introduce. So that is also a catch-22 situation, because as you see, AI is moving ahead by leaps and bounds, and you do not want to miss that bus. But at the same time, you need to ensure the data privacy, the data guidelines, which I'm going to talk about next, that all of them are being taken care of. All right. So we spoke about the use cases. So there can be endless use cases in environmental health profession. There are a lot of use cases which are being implemented for wastewater management. There are use cases for air quality monitoring that is being used in the profession as on today. And once we come back in January with another webinar, we are going to talk about those specific use cases and how you can utilize AI for help in those areas. Now, if you look at the data privacy consideration, so for many of the organizations and agencies that are there in environmental health profession, the biggest hurdle in adopting AI is trust. Because since past couple of years, since AI has started, a lot of people are asking a lot of right questions, whether AI is right, whether it is ethical, and different sort of things with AI. That media is also circulating in different forums. So can we trust the AI to do the right thing? Can we trust it with our data? And these are valid concerns. And but looking at the approach that we see at the end of it, there are no right and wrongs in there. When you start with, One second.
And we're not seeing your screen, Ashish, if you are going back to your
Apologies. Yes, I
PowerPoint,
missed
no
that.
problem. There we
Yes.
go. Just put it in presentation mode and we'll be all set.
Yes. Come. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashish.
Great. No problem. Thanks. Yes. So now with the data privacy considerations, we have to keep certain things in mind. And I'm going to talk about these one by one because these are very important. Whenever you look at developing and deploying AI, please ensure that you have a risk-based approach. You need to assess the context in which you are trying to use the artificial intelligence, and then only look at deploying it or developing it within your organization. Also ensure what are whenever you use AI and you get some decisions which are being generated by AI systems, how do you explain those into your individuals? For example, let's say you use ChatGPT to do a performance management of your employees. And with the performance management, you have set certain goals. And with the data that you feed ChatGPT, it will come back saying, okay, they had to publish 4 articles in the last year, but they have done only 2 articles. So if you look at that, a simple yes or no data format, you will look at ChatGPT results, and that may show that somebody is working negatively if you use it for performance management. So you need to understand how the AI system is arriving at a decision, what data and what quality of data you are feeding into it, as well as at the end of the day, the individual that you're explaining this to, they always have a right for a meaningful explanation. So you need to tell them that, yes, this is the algorithm being used. With this algorithm, these are the conditions that we have set, whether it should be 4, 2, and things like that. So you need to understand how do you make your colleagues and your direct reportees in the performance management system, as an example, aware about how AI is being used. Most important part of the whole utilization of AI system is you only need to feed in the data that you want looked at. You do not want to share, let's say, thousands of files or thousands of data columns to the AI system where you would want the results out of 2 columns only. Because what you will do is you will feed a lot more data into the AI system. Though you would be using maybe pro license or an enterprise license, and in that case, your data might be secure. But please understand that at the end of the day, when you feed the data to the AI system, ensure it is accurate, ensure that it is relevant to the use case you want the output for, and it is a limited data disclosure that you're doing. You need to ensure that the AI system is secure. Now, in some areas where you are using a vendor product like Copilot, or you're using Otter.ai and things like that, you cannot straight away see that the system is secure. And this is one issue that Neha also faced. So what we did was we did a detailed proof of concept with those vendors. We understood their data security policy. We understood their data privacy concerns. We understood where they are hosting that data. Now, with that data, there is a lot of PII and HIPAA data also, which comes into account in environmental health profession. So we worked with the vendors to understand how they have been storing that data, for how long they will store that data, even if we cease to use that product. So please ensure that you do your homework with understanding what tools to utilize, because the certain vendors would have different policies for it. Choose the right version of the license. We discussed that. That's very important. And ensure that any human review of decisions. So whenever AI gives you data, you may ensure that there is a human who is ensuring that whatever decision has been taken from the AI, whether they are solely automated decisions, they should be put into place or not. Now, one thing that we also discussed during our AEC artificial intelligence session was that as on today, AI is a largely unregulated business technology. There are still controls being developed at the United States government level, but more regulations are expected to be passed into the law in future. They are currently in progress, but as on today, not many of the regulations are there concerning this technology. So, but the agencies that work within the profession can protect customers against the AI privacy issues by adhering to data, by regulatory or other best practices. So I'll give you an example here. So Neha uses note-taking softwares as well. we ensure that when we go into the meeting, before that meeting, if that meeting is holding or if that meeting is going to discuss a confidential data or a data which is sensitive data. So what we ensure is that before the meeting, 24 hours before the meeting organizer will send an email to all of the people who are going to join that meeting. And this will be a disclosure that there will be an AI tool used for note taking, which will be available, and that will record the meeting. And if anybody is opposed to that, they can register their issues that, yes, we do not like being recorded or things like that. And then Neha will provide that, yes, if your data is being recorded, what all is being recorded? Where will that data be hosted? How that data will be used, controlled, and things like that. Where is that data stored? Is that secure? How much time we are going to keep that recording of that meeting? All of these information we ensure. So this is the way that Neha is protecting the customers, the members who are interacting with us for their day-to-day issues. So very important to ensure that the privacy issues are being taken care of. Now we are going to talk about in this one is the guidelines that we have for the EH community. Now Neha has been looking at artificial intelligence for the past couple of years, but there has been a lot of traction and the development that we have done in the past 1 year. And basis on all of that information, all of that data, the hard work that we have done, we have brought some of the guidance for the EH community. Whoever who wants to start, or if they are into some phases and they are facing some challenges. So there is a guideline that we have come up with. The first one is planning. It's a 4-step process. The first one being planning. So as I said, please ensure that you either try at home using the free versions so that you get well versed with the tool. You understand what data it is taking as an input, what data is coming out as an output, and whether you are happy to use that AI tool. Second is very important, share the feedback with your colleagues, your work colleagues, and see what they are coming up with. That way you will know what is the experience that they are getting. And attend as many sessions that you can have on AI. That will give you a basic head start that yes, you can go ahead and start utilizing it at workplace. Now, when you're using at home, it is very different, but when you're going at workplace, it is a different ball game. You need to have, first of all, the senior management looped in. The senior management, what they will do is they will ensure that there is an AI strategy at the workplace or a policy which is created at the workplace. And that policy is important because it will ensure the usage of AI. It will ensure that whatever we are developing on the AI front is aligning to the organization goals as well as the organization policies, be it security policies and others. So once there is an AI policy, you'll also have an AI discussion forum at your workplace, which will also give and define the roles and responsibilities, as well as ensure what use cases are going to be implemented. So this is going to be a forum where all of your departments will contribute. You will discuss what is the problem at hand first problem at hand that you would want to address, or what is the second one and the third one and so forth. And last but not the least, when you document all of this, the important part is because you are going to utilize tool set, which is a market tool set, you need to understand that there is going to be an investment at your end, the investment at the organization end as well. The organization end will need to ensure that there is sufficient budget that they have catered for all the tooling and licenses and how many people they want to start up with. When Neha started, we started off with 6 people in our AI forum. And those were the head of departments that we had. So what we wanted is first they have the experience, and then because they are the module head, they are in a best position to tell us what use cases to be driven and who in their teams would be more suitable candidate for working within that forum. So that's how we started. In terms of execution, once you have defined that, yes, there is a budget, then there is a procurement required for that tooling licenses. Probably the IT departments within your organizations would help, within the agencies would help in that. And then you have to evaluate the AI tools, perform proof of concept. Before proof of concept, I would suggest do not implement anything within your environment, because if it breaks something later on, then you might regret in terms of the data. And that way you'll have your implementation done. Once you have the planning, documentation, and execution done, so now you have a working AI product, or maybe you're utilizing a vendor AI product into the environment. Important step is to review the output. You need to understand whether this is the right fit solution for you or not. Has it impacted anything in terms of efficiency? Has it increased efficiency? Has the speed of response being increased? Or if in terms of the accuracy of the information, what is your feedback? Revisit your use cases as many times as you want to. It took about 1 year for Neha to revisit the use cases, redefine the use cases, and at the end of the day, implement them again. So by the time you're not sure, please do repeat the whole process. Because I talked about Neha's case study, I've also depicted here. So if we started, though it's all the process was starting right across 2 years process, but since past year we've made more traction. So till the time of October last year, there were individuals who were experimenting with AI at home. And after their testing, they came back, they suggested to Neha's IT saying that, okay, these are the use cases we have been implementing and we've had quite a success with them. Now, the second step, because it is now workplace, it is not the home systems. So Neha IT evaluated the tools of the suggestions that were there. We looked at what are the other tools which are there in the market doing the same thing. And we did the same exercise, as I said, looking at data privacy and handling procedures. Where are they storing the data? How is it the data being used and so forth? Then in January this year, we created the first draft of our AI policy. We looked at the AI policy which is there in the market. We looked at certain suggestions from ChatGPT. We looked at suggestions from Claude, and then we defined and contextualized our AI policy. It took a lot of reviews on the HR end because, as you would understand, artificial intelligence, when it is applied to the work power, the man force, it is also a human resource consideration. So we've had the human resource team also review and give inputs on ethical considerations, how it will apply to an individual and so forth. Once we had our AI policy approved and implemented, then we started a full-fledged implementation on usage of the licenses that we bought. So we had Claude, we had Otter.ai, Fireflies, and the most important tool that I'll talk about here, I briefly touched on, is Microsoft tools. So we looked at Copilot as one of the tools. So we also have Copilot. We enabled the licenses of Copilot. So what Copilot does is, within Microsoft ecosystem, if you are using multiple products from Microsoft, right? You might be using Microsoft Azure, you might be using Outlook for your email access. You might be using Microsoft Teams for the collaboration and chat perspective. So what it does is it collects information across all of those areas, but in a secure tenant. So all of your data is not going outside Microsoft environment, and hence it is more secure. What we did after that was that we started to build products using the AI tools. And I'm going to briefly touch upon when we look at the last slide today is Neha has been developing quite products using the AI tools. We are building chatbots. We are building other guidance mechanism for environmental health profession. And we are going to showcase them when we start our journey in January. We are going to talk about those products which Neha has built. And for our members, those are the additional benefits that will bring on our membership site. And at the end of the day, it's still an ongoing journey. We do not say that Neha has perfected into artificial intelligence and we do not need to do anything else. It's a continuous process. We'll continue to move forward in this journey. And we want to share as much as good information and the best practices that we have seen, the learnings that we have seen, the failures that we have seen, the success that we have foreseen in all of our engagements using artificial intelligence to all of our EH members. So now we spoke about the data privacy concerns. The second part of concern when we try to adopt AI into the environment or into our work-life balance is the responsible use of AI. We need to understand that we need to use our creativity. It is not just a copy paste of ChatGPT or Claude or any other tool. It is just a tool for efficiency. Put people first. We need to ensure that we are not putting a tool first approach. It's always a people first approach, and it has to be. We need to understand that the transparency on the artificial intelligence is always there. You are talking about it within the team that yes, you have taken AI help in writing a grant application, in drafting a communication plan, and so forth. And from a NIHA perspective, we look at it as collaboration. We do not look at it as a replacement. And this is our firm stance that whatever we use the AI for, it is not going to replace, and it is not about replacing human employees. It is about, again, giving them a capacity to do more. You have tool at your disposal. You can utilize that tool and create efficiency so that AI can focus on certain aspects which are maybe too time consuming for a human. And whereas employees can focus on more creative and strategic aspect from that perspective. So I'm going to talk about a couple of areas on what's next on NIHA. But before that, there is one thing that I would like to leave you with is an analogy. So consider of AI as an example that I'm going to talk about. So a pilot, when you go, if you consider a flight, a pilot is always ultimately responsible for flying the plane. While there is a co-pilot, and the co-pilot takes on many tasks, and they assist with navigation, they share responsibilities, but the pilot is still in charge. And he's the one who has to ensure the safety of passengers on the board. The same applies to AI. So the human is always there, and our co-pilot is our artificial intelligence that we would want to utilize. So if you want to invest in AI, you need to, ultimately, it will give you more productivity. It will ensure that your teams are more effective and your business is more agile. But do ensure on the data privacy aspect, as well as ensure the use cases. What's next at NIHA on AI is there are 4 big initiatives that we are coming up with, and there are multiple others lined up. So the first one, as on today, that we are talking about is on the basic one on the AI use cases. In January, we are going to conduct one where there is going to be discussion on enhanced AI use cases, where we'll take example on wastewater management, or we'll take example on air quality improvement, how to use AI in those areas. The second one is we are coming up with a session on how to write an AI policy and how to ensure that data privacy is being checked. We are going to look at data privacy checklists that we have developed. We are going to look at certain examples of AI policy. We are going to look at NIHA's AI policy and so forth. The third one is they are going to be live demos. We will show you what we have built in-house and how does it work. What are the purposes, the chatbot and the resource manager, how do all they work, how NIHA members can access those tools. And then we are also initiating a NIHA Run community of practice for AI. With this community of practice, we would encourage all of people to come up, become members. And within this community, you can share your concerns, you can share your use cases, you can take suggestions from different people, and this will be a live community, which will be run, and we'll talk about the content and things. So these are the top 4 initiatives that we are coming up with within NIHA with us. At the end of this webinar as well today, you will get a survey form. And I would encourage you to please indicate your most pressing issue, need, or feedback from a specific area within this webinar that we discussed, which you would want more information on, or if you're running into a problem, you want suggestion and guidance. I would appreciate if you utilize those forms and share in your feedback. They will be, as we are recording this session, we'll put this recording into Claude and we'll generate a transcript out of it. And once we come back with the next sessions or the forthcoming sessions, we are going to show you that, yes, this is how we recorded this one, and this is how it has written, and it has done a summary or transcribing of that meeting. So this is all that we have for today. I hope I have answered some of queries from you in terms of how to start with, in terms of artificial intelligence. And at the end of the day, It is here to help. It is not here to take jobs or anything like that. This is my firm belief, as well as this is Neha's belief. I would like to ask Christy and Kelsey if they want anything else. Otherwise, we have, I think, about 10 minutes remaining, and we can take a couple of questions if you want.
Thank you, Ashish. We don't have any questions yet, but we have a statement, so I'd like your take on that. And the statement says that an individual is using Rocketbook for taking notes during an inspection, and then she can scan the QR code, and it converts her notes into text and emails, and she can email it to create her report quickly. So how does that work within the AI? Is that a different section of AI?
No, this is not a different section of AI, but as I was showing you a couple of tools, which were specified tools for a certain purpose. So for note-taking apps, we have Otter.ai. So this is a similar way where Rocketbook is one of the product, which is utilizing artificial intelligence in the backend, where they have developed this utility for certain features, for certain work. So this is the use case wherein the person who is utilizing this Rocketbook has all of these functionalities available, and this is being utilizing the artificial intelligence. All of the functionalities can be defined and can be developed. So
Okay.
Rocketbook is definitely an AI utility, which is being marketed by a vendor.
Okay, so do you see AI being used in plan reviews and other inspection functions?
Yes, absolutely. So as AI is moving ahead, there are multiple other products in the market which are currently available for this purpose, where they can review, they can do the inspections, and or either they can fill up a checklist. They can provide a checklist as well, as we saw looking at a draft communication plan. So we can also have an inspection checklist being developed there, and that's how we can take it forward. So in future there would be more AI tools, but again, the real important question, two questions that you should always ask whether utilizing Rocketbook or using it for inspection. One is the tool that you're going to use. How is your vendor who is collecting that data is going to utilize that information, where they are going to use that, store that information, and what they are going to do with it? Because we have seen examples where that data is being sold in black market, and that data is being sold for different other purposes to launch the attacks again back on the community. So that is how, please be very careful of the vendor that you work with in these areas. Look at other people, feedback on them. And if you're completely not sure, then ask Neha, and we can certainly help you, because we have done a lot of reviews for similar such tools, and we can help you. Second important part is what data you feed it. So if you feed it only less information, where it is not identifying, let's say, the jurisdiction, it is not identifying the place of inspection or the address or anything, then you're good, because then it cannot be tied back to you. If you're using it for inspection, just say the restaurant inspection, or let's say food quality inspection, and that way you can do with it. So data is the most important thing in AI.
Okay, let me ask you this. If individuals, EH professionals, are using this technology to inspect a restaurant or some other facility, do they need to notify the proprietor, owner, manager, whoever they're working with of that facility that they are using AI? And if so, does that individual have the right to say, no, I don't want to have my data put into AI?
Great question. And I would go back to one of my statements, which when we were looking at data privacy, I said, as on today, there are not many regulations in the United States by the government that can define that, okay, this is right to do and this is wrong to do. So what is happening these days is people are utilizing it, and based on some ethics, which some people are using, some people are not, they are doing a disclosure. So as Neha is doing a disclosure, when we record the meeting, we are sending it a disclaimer to people that, yes, we are going to record this meeting. If you have an objection, do notify it now. So as a best practice, what I would suggest from community and being into IT is, it is good to disclose that information upfront. rather than being challenged later on about the accuracy of data or about the method of collection of that data. But at the end of the day, if you look at it from a government and a compliance perspective, there are no regulations as on today.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot again. This is a fascinating topic, so thank you for
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
If somebody does object and
Mhm.
voices concern of, I don't want to be in a meeting where there is AI. If
Mhm.
you have 10 people who say it's okay and you have 2 people that say it's not, how do
Mhm.
you mitigate that?
So with that, this all again comes back to how you define in the policy. So within NIHA's policy, we have defined it into certain levels. So we are saying that, okay, if only one person is objecting to that, what we can do is we can run that meeting, take the input of that person who is going to give that inputs into that meeting, and we send them the transcript later on. So they can see what happened within the meeting without no loss to information. And if there are more than one people or two people coming up for it, then we say that, okay, because there is a lot of people who are objecting to recording in this meeting, we will not do a recording. So that again comes back to your organization policy. What do you want to do it? But as slowly as you progress, we move ahead, we are going to see a lot of AI tools and certainly more recording softwares being utilized. But as long as the organization using it takes credibility of that data, I think the person is okay. The people object because they do not know how their data is going to be captured. Again, that fear of utilizing AI and what is going to happen with my voice recording. Will it be used for wrong purposes or not? That is going to remain the concern. And that's why it's good to have a full disclosure. Please inform them in advance, and that's going to go wonders.
I can see that being an HR issue of somebody saying, I'm being excluded from a meeting to do my job because I'm not comfortable
Yes.
using AI. So that's going to be a really interesting topic to watch. So Ashish, we
Yeah.
are running out of time. Again, thank you
Mhm.
so much. That was a lot of information. Some of it a little scary for people like me who are not IT people who think this is the way of the future and it's either get on the bus or you're going to get left behind. So I would thank all our attendees for joining us, and please ask you to take a few moments to fill out the short survey that you'll be receiving. Your feedback is instrumental to us in allowing us to bring you the topics that you need and the topics to help us complete our mission, which is to build, sustain, and empower an effective environmental workforce. Again, thank you all for joining us. Big thank you to Ashish. And as he said, he will be giving a second presentation tomorrow. So feel free to join us again. Thank you and have a pleasant rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.